Let's take a look at the new Shelfie template. Now this is a large one-page design and it uses scroll motion effects to animate the different sections into place. What we've tried to do with this template is use predominantly rectangles and simple shapes so that it makes it very easy to modify. It also gives it this really nice clean hipster type design. That being said, what we've done is used rectangles and background fills. So it's very easy for you to swap out these images as you wish. We've also used typekit fonts throughout, so you can change the fonts. The way this template is built is that we have these two sections here, the shelf and the shadow, that as you scroll down the page, let's go into preview mode, so we can see this in operation. As we move down the page, the shelf appears to stay in place and the various components of the website move out and move back in. We've also got a navigation menu here that takes us to each section nice and cleanly. And we have a navigation panel to take us specifically to parts of the site. Let's go back to design view. So these parts here, the shelf and the shadow, they are running off. Let's take a look at the scroll here. So looking at the shelf, we can see we've got scroll motion switched on, and the motion is moving at 0.01 of the speed of the scroll. So as you scroll down the page, and that's a speed of 1, this is moving at 0.01% of that speed. So we get a nice smooth scroll motion and we get these nice stopping points. And what we've done is we've set up the guides to show where those stopping parts are, so that you can change your content to fit on the shelf when it comes to rest. Each of these sections as well, let's take a look at this image here. This image is moving up into place at 0.01 and it's moving across at 2.5. Now, why is it moving up? Well, we want this to move in and to appear as if it's coming onto the shelf at the same speed as this shelf is moving, so that we get this nice movement. So in order, if we say that the shelf is moving down, is moving up, sorry, as we move down, the shelf is moving up at 0.01. We also want items that move in to come in at 0.01, and then it'll give the appearance of it coming straight in rather than it coming at a diagonal. Then when we leave this area, so when we start after that point has been reached, we're still moving at 0.01, but we're moving back out again. And let's see how that works. So going back into preview mode, and what we'll do, we'll use the scroll here, so we can see the image appears to be moving into place on the shelf because it's moving up at the same speed as the shelf itself, and that's why we get that nice movement of it rather than it coming at a diagonal, because you can see the background is moving up past it, but because it's moving at the same speed as the shelf, it appears to be moving on to the shelf. Okay, so these are background images, and then we're using borders on them. This image here is just a series of rectangles. This rectangle's been turned at 45 degrees. This is the tape on here is just a rectangle again, but with its opacity changed. So a lot of these items are just graphics created purely in Muse. Then our books, they've got a few different sections to them. So we've got this black rectangle, we've got a coloured rectangle, we've got the text, and then we've got a rectangle with a background image to create the logo. But these are just gallery widgets that have been restyled up, and so you can add more images to those. And when you build a new rectangle, if I wanted to put a new rectangle on here, let's say for instance I wanted 3 rectangles on here. Very easy to do. I'm going to draw a rectangle here. Now I know that that line is where I want its stopping point there, and we know that this is the width of the shelf here, so I want it to stop just there. So it's going to come to rest there. So if I take a look at my other graphic here, so I want it to move up at 0.01, so I'm going to set that scroll motion, switch that on. I'm going to say 0.01 on there. I want it to move in at, let's say, 3 times the speed of the scroll motion. And then afterwards, let's take a look at afterwards. In fact, I'm going to set it to be exactly the same as it's coming in. Now we've also got the key point. Where should that come into place? Well, notice we've got on this image, we've got our key point. When the browser hits that point there, this should be in that position there. And the same with these other elements. So it's very easy. All we have to do is just drag that, and we've already put a guide there. So now if we take a preview of this, I'm going to scroll down to that section, and we can see that that element is moving in. Now notice it's going off the other side there, so we're going to go back into here, we're going to go back down to that graphic, and we're going to change it to go out at 3. So let's switch that. So we want that to come in at the speed of 3 times the speed of the scroll, and we want it to leave at, let's change that actually to 5. So we've got a bit of variety there, so it feels a bit more like an organic kind of animation, not so static. We've got various items coming in at different speeds as well to create that feel of not being too static. So we've got the graphic coming in there. So if we just set that to be still there like that, and then when we go to the next section, we can see that it comes on, and that's it. So it's very easy to add new blocks to the page or modify the one that's on there. If you want to change the backgrounds, if we go into the master here, we have our navigation elements here. Now this navigation here is just a normal navigation panel, but what we've done is we've switched the label off, and then we've switched the little icon menu icon on, set it to be in the center, and we've just applied curves to it. And then in the states panel, we've just changed the color, so it's the same color until it gets to its active state. And because in the new version of Muse we have, if we go to hyperlinks here and click on edit link styles, and we can see that we have enable active state for anchor links. So because we're using anchor links on the page, we're not actually going to any extra pages. We want our navigation to highlight when we reach that anchor point. So that's what we've done there. So to change the background images, we have these full-size rectangles that go the full width of the work area, and they have colors in them. So in this one we have a red color, and then we're using a semi-transparent PNG tiled to make the texture. So we could easily change the color of this fill here. Let's change that to, let's say, this blue. And we can see that we still retain the pattern effect. So it's very easy to change those colors. Once you're ready, you can publish the site. We have the mobile version as well. Now we've done away with the scroll effects in the mobile version, and we've just laid it out so that it goes full width on the mobile. And this is because we felt that the scroll motion really wasn't needed in the mobile site. But you could change that if you wanted to, but we think this works better this way. Don't forget to change the iPhone icon and the Fave icon as well. And that's it for Shelfie, so enjoy using it, and we look forward to seeing what you build with it.